Catalina here. Today's October 24th. I'm outside of my house. The weather is gorgeous and it's a little noisy inside, so I thought I'd come film out here. I wanted to talk, well, first and foremost, there's less than a week left to apply for the temporary expanded public service loan forgiveness process, which is expanded relief. I went over the details between public service loan forgiveness and the temporary expanded relief in my last video. Today I want to address, now that the application has absolutely come out for the 10 to 20,000 of relief, I wanted to address a few very important points about the application, as well as talk about the lawsuits that are transpiring right now and what it could possibly mean for the $10 to $20,000 of relief. So first and foremost, a couple pointers. First of all, 22 million Americans have already applied for the 10 to 20K of relief. I like to say bravo, because not just bravo to borrowers, but bravo to the government for making the process a little more simple, and only requiring essentially just your personal information, like who are you, what's your social security number, what's your date of birth, what's your email, your contact information. That's all the application is, really. They don't require you to log in or submit any proof of income. So the tips and the pointers I wanted to review, first and foremost, is that if you're single, you have to earn $125,000 in 2020 or 2021. And the or is really important. If you understand the or logic, it means that if you earned over 125 for one of those years, it doesn't disqualify you. As long as you earn less than 125 for one of them, it includes you. So it's an inclusive clause in the application. The same if you're married. If you're married, head of household, or filing like a tax return for your family with dependents, as long as you earn 200, you as a family earn under 250 for either 2020 or 2021, which means if you earn over 250 for one of those years, as long as you earn under 250 for one of them, you still qualify. So I think the program in that instance is extremely generous. Okay, I just want to point that out. If you are still named as a dependent on somebody else's taxes, this is where it gets tricky. They might consider your parents' income. The point is, even though you don't have to submit any proof of income at this point in time, it is really not worth lying, because if it does not align with what the IRS has seen you, because of course they trace everything through your Social Security. So your employment, your employer has your Social Security or your tax identification number. When you file taxes, it's through your Social Security or tax identification number. So by entering that, there is no lying about your income. So I know a lot of, like, I don't say I know a lot of people, that's not a true statement, but if you're like, oh, they're not collecting proof of income, I'm just going to go ahead and apply. That's just not going to work if you don't actually qualify, because they will trace income back to your Social Security, your date of birth, etc. So I wanted to point that out. Just because we don't submit proof of income right now does not mean they don't come back and ask for a proof of income at a later time. So keep that in mind. Don't take the simple nature of this application to mean that they won't be checking against some other information. Okay, I hope that that information is clear. Second of all, do not fret or worry about, like, I know there's a lot of news rolling in about how, Republican states are suing the administration for saying that that the president does not have authority or a capability of doing such a mass debt relief, and that they're trying to stop the lawsuit. They're trying to stop the loan forgiveness program. Still continue to file. Half of student loan borrowers still need to file their 10 to 20K of relief. I encourage you to continue filing. Do not take these lawsuits as a sign at all that we're not going to get loan forgiveness. It's just a normal process, just like Obama's Affordable Health Care Act. The same thing happened. So many people sued. It still got passed. That's why it took the administration so much time, is they had to research the legal capability to be able to relieve debt, and they set up the program to, as best as possible, be able to undergo scrutiny. So do not worry. I know that a lawsuit that the state of Missouri sued on behalf of Mohila, the federal servicer that will now be taking over public service loan forgiveness. The court decision was thrown out because the judge at the lower level court said that the state of Missouri they cannot represent a private company because they're part of the state, and that if the private company wants to sue because they're going to generate a big income loss, that they have to make their own case and file their own case. So they threw it out on those technical grounds. And now that lawsuit is being appealed and passed on to higher level courts. So there's several suits in place, but and appeals, but don't worry about it in terms of don't let it stop you from filing your forgiveness application. I will link it in the description as well. I filed in the beta version, which now the full application is released. So those 22 million of you who have not done it yet, please get on it. And of course, because you're consenting to, under perjury, and there's potential criminal and civil repercussions for lying, it's really vital that you do this application directly at the link to the government site, just direct. Of course, if you have any questions on the implication or you need help with any other aspects of PSLF, Public Service Loan Forgiveness, or implications on other financial goals, we're here to help. But the forgiveness app, I really encourage people to just go to the link. It's super simple. It's so simple that I wouldn't even consider it an application. Like it's so basic. I was joking with a friend the other night who is eligible for $20,000 of relief. And she's like, wow, it took me under 2 minutes. And I was like, wow, you made $10,000 a minute. So the returns are quite huge. I'm really excited for the financial freedom this will grant so many Americans. For me, myself personally, I will literally have a student loan balance of 0 after I get approved. So for me, this is huge, 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 huge. I'd love to hear the stories of what you all will do. Please comment. What will you do when you get your student loans forgiven? This 10 to 20K, does it mean an entire forgiveness for you? Do you have a much lower payment? Exactly how they will continue to process and recalculate your repayment. As we get news about that, I will release it as well. But what does this mean to you? Please comment below. What will you do in lieu of make a payment? My payment was $102. It wasn't huge because I'd made some payments while I was in grad school, but my payment wasn't huge. I'd paid down a lot of it already. But what will this $102 a month now for the next 10 years do for me? Like, I don't think of it like, I think of it as an aggregate, like, wow, I don't have to pay X thousands. Like, what will that do? I mean, psychologically for me, it makes me feel more free. It makes me feel less stressed that I have to make this payment. It makes me feel like I can think of bigger and better things to do with my money, I can save more. But ultimately for me, it just means I'm more free. It means I've freed myself from a form of debt that, although my degree does provide a return, so I'm not going to argue with that, I don't have to account for it in my monthly expenses. Like, that's incredible. That means I can, accelerate my savings for investments, retirement. I just had a son, so for him, for his future goals, there's just so many things that we can do. And I'd love for you to share your story. What will you be doing with your $10,000 to $20,000? Although you don't get it in cash money right away, but it's 10 to 20 grand over the lifetime of your repayment. And that's pretty huge. So I'm really excited. Share what you're going to do with your 10 to 20K. Leave it in the comments below. Share the news with anybody who is eligible for the 10 to 20K. I released, last week an entire application walkthrough, which I'll link below as well. and in the description. And yeah, please comment, like, and share this video. Have a great rest of your day.